Hey guys, welcome back to Half of Heidi, or welcome in general to my channel if you're new here. I'm 1 week, 1 day post vertical sleeve gastrectomy, and I'm not going to talk stats or anything like that sort of stuff. I just wanted to talk about a couple of things that I've got on my mind. I'm going to dedicate this video to my friends Fiona and Marisha. They helped me come up with the ideas of the topics to talk about, so thank you so much, ladies. Hi. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to talk about is it's an extension from my previous video, which was all about the surgery itself and like my couple of days in hospital. It was really detailed, mainly because I just wanted people who were about to go through the experience to kind of know a little bit more about what to expect, because I don't know, I found it really valuable when I had seen somebody else talk about it, but I went into a lot of detail, I admit that. Anyway, I ran out of time. I talked for nearly half an hour, so I said I should do like a follow-up and talk about the first week of recovery and kind of to try to describe what each day was like in terms of progression and how I was feeling and all that kind of stuff. So that's the first part of this video, and then towards the end I'm also going to talk about the ripple effect, and I'm not going to give any spoilers for what that is. If you want to watch the end of the video, you'll have to watch the end of the video. Gee, that's logical. Okay, so I got home from the hospital on Thursday last week, so I remember being tender, but they had sent me home with like endone, which is like morphine, and Panadol. So because obviously, well, not obviously, if you don't know, morphine / endone doesn't treat all pain types, if that makes sense, and it doesn't touch gas pain. So because of that, I think that's why I was exceptionally determined to get up and walk frequently when I was in the hospital, and I did that. I'm really lucky I didn't get severe gas pain. I didn't feel any in my tummy, and it wasn't actually until I was home from the hospital that I experienced very short duration shoulder pain from the gas. And when I say short duration, I mean literally like a minute. The thing though I will say is I have never been anti-painkiller or avoid painkillers because of whatever reason people avoid them for. So I took my pain control very seriously. My husband wrote up a list of all of the medication I'd been sent home with, and made sure we wrote down the times I was taking them and knew when the next round would be due, so that we could stay on top of pain relief. That was really important to me, that I wasn't suffering. So I highly, highly recommend that if you're pre-op and getting ready to think about what do you need when you get home. Paper and pen, and be prepared to track what medications you're taking, because on top of the pain relief medication, they'd also given me a indigestion tablet. I had laxatives I had to take. I had an anti-nausea tablet that I could take, I guess, if I felt nausea, which fortunately I didn't. I'm just very lucky. I think that might be all. Oh, and a chewable multivitamin. Plus, on top of all of that, I had all my own medication to take for my bipolar. So I also had to take 3 Lovan. I'm sorry if I'm not supposed to be mentioning medication names. 3 Lovan plus a Valdoxan tablet and 4 Epilim. So it was a heap of pills that I had to consume. And without this tracking system, I found it really, really hard to get all of the medication in. And in fact, for the first couple of days, I didn't get to take all of my medication, like my own personal medication, just because you're so swollen from the operation, like your digestive tract. like even your esophagus is swollen from the stuff they've had to put down, the endoscope and all that kind of stuff, and the bougie, the sizing thing for the sleeve. And the sleeve itself and the opening, because I had the hernia repair, everything was just really swollen. So I could manage maybe 2 pills at a time, maybe per hour. And that was kind of even pushing it, because it was just so swollen and sore, and not sore, you know what I mean. So yeah, that tip 1, watch your pain and keep track of your medication. I found the other thing, even though I had seen so many people talk about it and I'd read about it and whatever, but for some reason it just never really made sense to me how difficult it would be to drink. So it's like having a sip of something, like before we all just, you take a sip. You don't even have to think about it. It's just like an automatic response to thirst. But knowing I can only have a certain amount, and like I need to treat what I'm drinking like a really hot cup of coffee, and sipping it to see what temperature it is, if it's ready to drink. Like you have to treat everything like that. And even then, it just sits funny. It's just like a really strange, well, you know what, actually, it makes you feel full, and it feels heavy. Like it's so hard to describe. You're just going to have to experience it for yourself. But I guess my advice is, don't beat yourself up. So if you have set yourself, a 1.5 to 2 litre fluid intake goal, don't beat yourself up if you only get 500 millilitres, because ultimately, yes, many days post-op, if you're still only getting 500 millilitres a day, you're going to get dehydrated and you're going to end up back in hospital. So please do be mindful of it. But definitely don't beat yourself up in those first couple of days. Just those first couple of days in the hospital, and when you get home, they are definitely the hardest when it comes to drinking water. I would say the first 2 days, and then so this is all after I've come home from the hospital. Then on the 3rd day home from the hospital, I actually started to reintroduce the OptiFast shakes, and I found it would still take me like hours to get through it. But I really needed the nutrients and the calories and, all that sort of stuff. I was having maybe 50 millilitres, which is about 2 ice cubes worth of soup. And that was over a period of time. And it wasn't difficult. It was actually, the soup was easier than the water. The water is the hardest thing. I was actually having protein water, so the powdered protein water. I'd ordered a sample pack from Cost Price Supplements, and they send you out 6 different flavours to try. They were all really, really nice. In the end, I've now ordered the passion fruit flavour. It's got 40 scoops in it. So looking forward to that arriving, because at the moment I'm just drinking cordial, so I'm very aware that I'm not getting enough protein at the moment. But anyway, I digress. So I think I am really happy that I took the laxatives, because I definitely was doing a poo every day. And TMI warning, not a solid poo, because nothing solid is going in. So liquid in, liquid out. Let me just set your expectations. But also, actually, let me tell you what I've also seen other people say, how they actually had no movements for days and days. So again, it seems like, don't be too anxious about that. your body is obviously holding on to the liquid and not just passing through you. So because I was taking laxatives, my body was being forced to go, basically. And then the opposite, I guess, some people haven't even taken laxatives, they're getting enough water and the liquid out is driving them crazy, so they take some Imodium. But I personally am not a fan of Imodium. I don't know, maybe in this kind of situation it's okay. Never take Imodium if you have gastro though, because all that does is keep the nasty bacteria inside of you, and it, from experience, I can tell you it can get really bad and you can end up very sick. Anyway, wow, gosh, I talked about some rubbish on this channel. Okay, so the thing though that again was great about the recovery period was being able to leave the house. Really important. My husband would drive me down to the waterfront, and I would go for a very slow, because we're not supposed to do cardio in the first 3 weeks post-op, so a very slow, very short stroll, just picturing myself like I was at the hospital doing a lap of the ward, just to keep moving and give me just something else to do, because it's very hard to find a comfortable position in those first few days when you're home from the hospital. Like when you're lying down, I found I still needed to be quite propped up with pillows behind me. Otherwise I kind of felt the pain in the incisions across the tummy. Obviously I mentioned this in my last video, I couldn't lie on my side for the first couple of days, and I usually lie on my side. I usually lie on my stomach as well, and can't do that. I still can't do that, admittedly. I'm day 8 post-op and I still can't do that. So even sitting down, like leaning forward, again, it puts the opposite kind of pressure on your tummy than if you were laying flat on your back. So it is difficult to find comfortable positions. I actually was most comfortable standing up, so going for that walk was really nice. And then, yeah, we basically just did that every day since. I think we might have missed a day or something for whatever reason. Each day, no, you know what? It was probably around the 4th day that I was home that I had closer to 100 millilitres of soup at a time, and I could have it a lot faster. So obviously by day 4, 5, the swelling had really started to subside in the sleeve, and I could actually get a little bit more in. And it was also around like that day 5, 6 mark that drinking the water, so the protein water or even this cordial that I've got now, started to become a lot easier. It's probably now day 7 and 8 that I don't have that really heavy feeling anymore. But you obviously still have that desire, reasoning, whatever, I can't think of the word I'm thinking of. You still have to take sips. So but I can say the sips are a lot bigger. I'm having a much more decent amount at a time, so it doesn't quite feel as forced. And I know that this is probably another TMI, but being sure, like, you know, check the colour of your wee, for example. Are you really dehydrated? You can check the colour of your wee. I've only had 1 day of really bad headaches, and I think that was due to dehydration. So I think that might have been the day where I introduced the OptiFast shake, because I knew that was at least 250 millilitres of fluid, and that actually really, really helped. So ever since then, I've been having one OptiShake a day, and that's been really good. And I've had soup for dinner. Today I introduced custard into the day and had a really small amount of that around lunchtime. All up, calorie-wise, now day 8, I'm probably getting maybe 400 calories a day, if that's maybe. I'm not sure. I'll have to. Actually, today I ordered a food diary and all that kind of stuff. And my new Fitbit Blaze, not sponsored, can also track calories and all that kind of stuff. So that's really cool. Yeah. So recovery. Overall thoughts, absolutely huge improvement each day. I had an incident on my last night in hospital because I just tried to take too many of my medication at once and I overfilled my sleeve and had a really rough night. So when I came home from the hospital on Thursday, I felt pretty awful. And a bit sorry for myself. When I say awful, I really have to stop exaggerating. Like, it wasn't that bad, but I didn't feel as good as I probably would have if I hadn't had the experience the night before. So all up, I think I'm very lucky with the process and my recovery that I've been having. You know, like when people were asking me, I think it was probably about the fourth or fifth day post-op was really when things started to pick up. And I was like, yeah, this is fine. Like, that was such a short and temporary period of discomfort, and obviously worthwhile going through. So, yeah, don't be afraid of it. Really, it's actually really empowering. And I think maybe because, like, I don't have children, I've never been through childbirth, I've never had a cesarean, I've never broken a bone. I've broken some toes, but they, you know, I was drunk at the time. I didn't feel it. I don't know. It made me realise that I can actually, with the help of pain relief, put up with a lot more than I think I thought I could. I thought I had the world's lowest pain threshold. And ultimately, I don't know, I feel like you just wear this experience as a badge of honour because it's scary. And even though, you know, you watch these videos and you read people's blogs and you go to Reddit and see what other people are experiencing, join Facebook groups and find out what people are like there, and Instagram and all of the different sources of social media that are available to see what other people experience. Ultimately, your experience is going to be unique. And yes, all you can really do is just try to prepare for it. Don't over-prepare in terms of every eventuality. If you can buy samples of things, I highly recommend that because you won't know how you're going to like something or not. So don't necessarily buy the 1 kilogram bag of something if you can buy a small, 50 gram sample. I just really recommend that. Yeah. And I don't know, reach out and keep talking to other people in the weight loss community about what their experiences has been, and you'll probably find pretty quickly somebody else who's going through the same thing, has the same symptom, and if not, your surgeon, obviously, talk to your surgeon. So yes. So that was all I was really wanting to talk about in terms of how the first week of recovery went. Now the second part of this video I wanted to talk about the ripple effect. So there's this lovely phenomena that my friend Marisha posted about that she observed basically in her household once she'd come home from hospital. Her mum had come to stay to help her look after her 2 kids, and her mum basically adopted the same sort of, food that she was having. The kids saw what she was eating, the healthy stuff, and were like, oh, we want to eat that too. I think she said her mum lost like 2 kilograms in that week. And obviously the girls have now got their mind starting to work around that healthy lifestyle and healthy relationship with food. Then other people started responding to Marisha's post and were saying, yeah, in my family, this is happening, X is doing this and X and Y is doing that. Personally, for me, my husband gave up Pepsi Max as well, as like I did. We didn't talk about it. He just did it. He's definitely eating healthier. I think he's had takeaway once in the last 5 weeks, when it was usually like nearly an everyday or just second day occurrence. He's obviously much more mindful about what he's eating. He's not obsessed or anything, but like he'll talk about, once he's, I guess, off nursing duties, he might even do like an opti-fast period himself. So it was really interesting, this ripple effect that Marisha was talking about, and how our choices, without forcing them on anybody else, without like becoming a preacher and a lecturer to other people, you can have such a positive impact on the people around you because they see what you're experiencing and how happy you are about it, or how positive the results are for you, and it almost can't help rub off on them. What I will say though is there will always be toxic people out there. So you will probably have a relative, a friend, someone who is a sabotager, and they will be either an emotional sabotager or a food sabotager. They're the kind of person who actually feels extraordinarily either jealous of your success and therefore want to sabotage it. So they may become, particularly critical of what you're doing and the choices you're making and that kind of stuff. Or they may just push food on you at every opportunity they possibly can, and really unhealthy options because they're trying to sabotage you. And I know that sounds like people wouldn't do that. People are great. No, there are people like that. So be aware that the ripple effect can happen in a couple of different ways. You can have people also benefit, have a positive benefit from your experience, but you can also have other people who reflect back to you their own issues, basically. And sometimes I think you're just going to have to decide, do I need that person right now causing whatever issue that is? And you need to be really strong and figure out, do you want them in your life permanently? Do you want them just to back off? Are they mature enough to have a conversation with, to say, hey, this isn't a helpful behaviour, let's, nip it in the bud. But yeah, I think it's really, really interesting how this decision that you make for yourself can impact other people. And I thought Marisha was really insightful when she pointed that out, that you go into it thinking, I'm doing this for me and I'm getting healthy for my children or my partner or etc. But they can get healthy as an outcome too because they want a piece of the success. It's amazing. It is amazing. So even to so another example, other people who they may be on diets as well, and it gives them motivation to keep going. There's just the ways that it can impact other people is amazing. I'll stop talking about it now. Look, that was all I wanted to talk about in this video. Thanks again to Fiona and Marisha for helping me come up with those topics. If you do have any specific questions about recovery, do please reach out to me. I'd love to share that information. If you've got any future topics that you'd like me to talk about, again, can you comment on this video and just let me know. I really would like to make sure I'm providing useful information to you guys. Okay, oh, P.S. If you noticed I'm not wearing black or grey, you should comment pink on this video. Okay, I love you guys. I will see you in my next video. Bye.